Ukraine's military intelligence agency, known as GUR, had a bold plan to strike at Russia's forces in Syria, where Moscow has been supporting the regime of Bashar al-Assad since 2015. According to a leaked top-secret intelligence document, GUR devised a series of covert operations to target Russian troops and Wagner mercenaries, who are believed to be involved in atrocities and war crimes in the war-torn country. The document, which was obtained by the Washington Post, reveals that GUR sought to enlist the help of Kurdish fighters, who have been fighting against the Islamic State and Turkish-backed rebels in northern Syria. The Kurds, who have a long history of resistance and autonomy, were seen as potential allies who could provide intelligence, logistics, and access to Russian targets. The document details several scenarios that GUR considered for its attacks, such as using Kurdish informants to plant explosives on Russian vehicles or bases, ambushing Russian convoys or patrols with improvised explosive devices, IEDs, or small arms fire, infiltrating Kurdish fighters into Russian-controlled areas to conduct assassinations or sabotage, launching drone strikes or rocket attacks on Russian airfields or command centers. The document also reveals that GUR had a contingency plan in case of retaliation from Russia or its allies. The plan involved creating a false flag operation to blame the attacks on other actors, such as the Islamic State, Turkey, or Israel. The document states that GUR's main objectives for its operations were to inflict casualties and damage on Russian forces and Wagner mercenaries, and undermine their morale and reputation, distract Russia from its military intervention in Ukraine and force it to divert resources and attention from the Donbass region, demonstrate Ukraine's resolve and capability to challenge Russia in multiple domains and regions, gain leverage over Russia in future negotiations or peace talks. However, the document also notes that GUR's plan faced several challenges and risks, such as the possibility of detection or exposure by Russian intelligence or counterterrorism units, the potential backlash from the Syrian government or other regional actors, who might view the attacks as a violation of their sovereignty or interests, the uncertainty of the Kurdish cooperation and loyalty, given their complex and shifting alliances and agendas in Syria, the legal and ethical implications of conducting covert operations in a foreign country without authorization or oversight. The document concludes that GUR's plan was ultimately aborted by President Volodymyr Zelensky, who ordered a halt to the operations in late 2022. The document does not specify the reasons for Zelensky's decision, but it suggests that he may have been influenced by pressure from the EU and other Western allies who were concerned about escalating the conflict with Russia and jeopardizing the diplomatic efforts to end the war in Ukraine. In this video, we will show you how Ukraine's secret operation neutralized Russian forces near the city of Bakhmut, one of the most contested areas in the war. Bakhmut is a strategic city that lies on the highway connecting Donetsk and Luhansk, the two separatist regions controlled by Russia. Capturing Bakhmut would allow Russia to consolidate its grip on eastern Ukraine and threaten the rest of the country. Russia had vowed to take Bakhmut by May 9, Victory Day, a national holiday that commemorates the Soviet Union's role in defeating Nazi Germany in World War II. To achieve this goal, Russia deployed more than 140,000 troops, including irregular militias and mercenaries from the Wagner Group, a private military company linked to Yevgeny Prigozhin, a close ally of Vladimir Putin. Russia also used its air force, artillery, tanks and drones to support its ground offensive. But Ukraine was not going to give up Bakhmut without a fight. Ukraine's military intelligence agency had developed plans to conduct covert attacks on Russian forces in Syria using secret Kurdish help, according to a leaked top-secret intelligence document. The aim was to distract and weaken Russia's military capabilities and morale in both fronts. Meanwhile, on the ground in Bakhmut, Ukraine's 3rd Assault Brigade launched a surprise attack on Russian positions on the outskirts of the city on May 10. They used drone footage to identify an avenue of attack that the Russians had neglected, and advanced under the cover of their own artillery. They managed to push Russian forces back more than a mile, taking Russian prisoners of war and destroying combat vehicles. The Ukrainian assault exhausted Wagner troops and forced them to be replaced by less well-prepared units of the Russian regular troops, which were also defeated and left. The Wagner group chief lashed out at Russian military leaders, accusing them of fleeing the battlefield and causing hundreds of Wagner casualties. The Ukrainian advance was a significant blow to Russia's war effort and its prestige. It denied Russia victory in Bakhmut by Victory Day and showed that Ukraine was not a weak opponent. It also boosted Ukraine's morale and confidence in its own military capabilities. Ukraine's secret operation was a brilliant example of how modern warfare is not only about brute force, but also about intelligence, deception, speed, and surprise. It also demonstrated how Ukraine's allies, such as the United States and NATO, can help Ukraine defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity without directly engaging in combat with Russia. One of the most surprising revelations of the war was that Ukraine's defense ministry had seized secret battle plans left behind by Russian soldiers. These documents suggested that Russia had planned a short and decisive war with Ukraine, lasting only 15 days. How did Ukraine get hold of these plans? And what did they reveal about Russia's strategy and intentions? According to a report by Business Insider, the secret battle plans were found in a laptop abandoned by Russian troops near the town of Bakhmut, where Ukrainian forces had launched a counteroffensive in early May. The laptop contained maps, diagrams, and orders for the Russian invasion, as well as a timeline for achieving key objectives. The documents showed that Russia had expected to capture Kyiv, the Ukrainian capital, by the 10th day of the war, and to force Ukraine to surrender by the 15th day. The documents also revealed some of the tactics and methods that Russia had used to infiltrate and destabilize Ukraine before and during the war. A Reuters investigation found that Russia had spread a secret web of agents across Ukraine, especially in the defense, security, and law enforcement sectors. These agents were tasked with sabotaging Ukrainian infrastructure, spreading propaganda, and facilitating the movement of Russian troops and equipment. Some of these agents were also involved in the capture of Chernihiv nuclear plant, which fell to Russian forces without a fight on February 24. The discovery of the secret battle plans was a major intelligence coup for Ukraine, as it exposed Russia's overconfidence and miscalculation of the Ukrainian resistance. It also gave Ukraine an opportunity to adjust its own strategy and tactics, and to seek more support from its Western allies. The plans also confirmed what many Ukrainians had suspected, that Russia had never intended to respect Ukraine's sovereignty or territorial integrity, but rather to annex it or turn it into a puppet state.